Gonna be Big Zam.
You're gonna be Big Zam?
Big Zam, motherfucker!
What the fuck?
You better recognize. It's morphin' time! Dragon Sword!
Mastodon!
Pterodactyl!
Triceratops!
Saber-tooth tiger!
Tyrannosaurus!
Skid bow, diddly doodly bow. Stackity zap zap do. Doodly honky doodly googly gee. Get got by the boots doodly goo.
Well, that was pretty cool.
Right? Yep. Worth the wait, huh?
Well, I don't know if it was worth waiting 4 months, but it's pretty good.
Was it 4 months, really?
It actually is. I checked. That was the last time we uploaded anything, because it was back when Pacific Rim first came out.
Oh, that's right, yeah. And then
Yeah.
we've been on a hiatus for a few months for various reasons, and we've given it a shot here and there, but there's been some issues in one way or another, and we, of course, are talking about the recording and uploading of our podcast, ShallowCast.
Which we're doing right now.
Right, exactly. In case you folks have forgotten, I am, of course, XanderGrimm, as always.
I am probably still Nafansaurus.
I think you are.
Okay.
Location doesn't change name, usually.
Well, no, that's true. All right. So, well, it sounds like we're unanimous then, so I guess it's safe to assume I'm still Nafansaurus.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah, I'm still XanderGrimm.
We've been gone for a while. We made an attempt at recording a few different episodes that mysteriously didn't get put together and uploaded, so we were sort of on hiatus for a while, and now we are back.
Yeah, there was some things going on in our personal lives that just kept us from recording. I was working 2 jobs there for a while, and that really cut down on my time. And but that's gone now. I'm back to the single job thing. And then you went through a bit of a relocation, if I recall.
Oh, yeah. I moved from Seattle to Oregon over the course of about 2.5 weeks or so. The end of November and the beginning of December are the times that I moved.
Black Friday weekend type of thing.
Basically, yeah. We left just before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. So you were able to avoid all that. But yeah, so that's really cool news, dude. I mean, moving's always a crazy thing, and I know, I mean, this is certainly not your first, apartment on your own or anything. You have a roommate and stuff like that, but still, new place, new state and everything. It's a bit of a change. Yeah,
it was. It's not the biggest move ever. Obviously, that was moving from California to Russia back in the early 2000s.
Right, definitely.
But I went California to Russia, Russia to New Mexico, and then from New Mexico to Seattle, and I lived in Seattle for 2 years. And then my friend Black Hole Girl, my best friend, she worked with me at Apple while I was still there, was moving to Portland or to Oregon, and she asked me to, she asked me to move up there with her to be her roommate, so that she didn't have to pay as much for rent. I could be in a place I liked more.
Right, exactly.
I could be in a little safer area. So we drove up here. I flew to New Mexico to get my stuff out of storage, and we drove from New Mexico to Oregon with all our stuff, and that took about 3.5 days.
Yeah, that's still a pretty quick trip to drive from Arizona or New Mexico to Portland.
Yeah, it went pretty quickly. It would have been easier, if I had been able to do some of the driving too, but I did not. I don't have my driver's license. I haven't driven in about 2 years.
Oh wow, yeah. So you were living in Seattle, so you're just walking in public transport and all that stuff.
Yeah, I sold my car really quickly after I got there. So she had to do all the driving, and I tried to repay her by unloading the entire moving truck by myself, and hopefully that made up for it a little.
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty beastly, yo.
It was, yeah. I have a lot of like arm strength, upper body strength, and so I was able to put that to good use for once.
Yeah, that's part of the reason it took us so long to record this. Is you won't stop playing with your damn toys.
Well, first of all, I barely had any of them until I started unpacking these boxes, like literally a week and a half ago. I found I have almost all my Godzillas left. I've got 2 of them in Seattle, and 8 of them are here. So my collection is getting back together, which is nice.
Yeah.
But that's been up with me. Moving, getting a new job. You had your job stuff going on that apparently kept episodes from getting edited and uploaded, but now we're back in business.
Basically, what was happening was, for those that don't know, I was working for, I guess it's safe to say now, because it's not like they can do anything about it, really, but I was working for Blockbuster for a few months, and what happened was, a company came along and outbid basically what happened was they outbid us for the rent, and they were able to kind of rent the place out from under us, so our store had to close. And then, as some of you may realize, or some of you may know, it's been a while, I forget how to do this thing, Blockbuster has announced that they are actually completely shutting down all of their retail stores. There's about 300 stores still open, and they're now working on getting those all closed down by the end of next January.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I was just shocked that there were even still Blockbusters in business. I honestly thought they'd gone out of business like last year or so.
There was a big one. There was like a big Chapter 11 thing, and that kind of crashed, and that kind of crashed the company a lot. But we were still hanging in there for the most part. But of course, it's the rental model as it is, or as it has been over the years. Just does not work anymore, especially with the prevalence of digital downloads, either through legitimate or illegitimate means. But yeah, the rental model definitely needs to change somewhat.
Yeah, I mean, we could riff for hours on business strategies, but that's not really the focus of this podcast.
Right. No, exactly. But I mean, just to kind of put a bell on that, is
proof
that the rental model does not work. Mm-hmm. It took Redbox about a month to get Pacific Rim on DVD.
Okay.
So it's clearly gonna be next in the crosshairs, I think. But let's move on to something a little bit more important, and that is
interesting.
Of course, yes, of course, and that is of course the big string cheese recall.
Oh right, yeah, because that's all over the news.
Oh yeah, definitely. I am a big fan of Kraft string cheese. I've been eating it for years. It's to the point where it is the only string cheese I will eat. Nothing else tastes as right. And for weeks now, I've been unable to find it. Every time I go to the store, they have the peg there, but of course it's completely out of stock. And I did a little bit of digging, and it turns out that Kraft recalled about 700,000 cases worth of string cheese because it supposedly has a chance of spoiling early. But it's weird because some of these expiration dates pushed all the way into like August of next year. So I don't know what spoiling early means for August of next year. But yeah, that's what's been going on. So I have been without my cheese snacks for a few weeks now, and it's starting to become problematic.
Well, I know there was a time when you were like 6 or 7 where that was all you were willing to eat ever, according to your parents. But I honestly,
I broke 3 toilets, so you know.
Well, yeah, which I wasn't gonna go into that. I don't like thinking about that part of it. But I was a little surprised to see how upset you were about this. I mean, when you saw that article and you called me at 4:30 in the morning and you were just sobbing. Honestly, I thought like something had happened to Leah, to your fiance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's still safe.
Well, I'm glad for that. But I mean, the way you were talking about the only thing in the world that you love, I was just genuinely a little shocked to hear that it was a string cheese recall thing. That surprised me a little bit.
I need my cheese, man. I need my cheese.
Apparently so. So you've been really distraught over this. I mean, you had that petition going to release the cheese, I think is what you called it, and that was your big Facebook group that got 2 members, and the other, those were both accounts that you created, if I remember right.
Yeah, boy, Facebook accounts are a pain in the ass to create, I tell you.
Yeah, especially when you're making them for fraudulent purposes. It seems like that makes it even more difficult.
Yeah, here it's pretty easy to do on Twitter, though.
Oh, Twitter is kind of a cesspool of fake Twitter accounts. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's fake Twitters for just about everybody right now. Yeah. This dumb irrelevant cheese thing happened, which you're really upset about.
Yes, definitely. But
I'm sorry for your loss.
You know, I'm working through it. I'm gonna go and see somebody about it next week, and
that's good.
Hopefully they'll help me get over it.
Well, yeah, I was glad that my dad was able to recommend a colleague of his. My dad, as I don't think our viewers know, is a psychologist and a pastor, and he's got, he has colleagues that are actual that are psychiatrists, and he was able to refer somebody to me after he stopped laughing when I told him what I needed.
I'm amazed that as a pastor that he's not able to help me with my cheese problem.
Well, he said that, I mean, once I told him that you were an atheist, he crossed himself, which is weird because we're not Catholic.
Right.
And then he started chanting, and he's actually kind of been in this back room of his house with like this little lantern lit outside and this little shrine on the inside of it. It's really, I don't know. I think we're like Protestant or something, so I don't know what that's about. But he hasn't come out of there in like the 6 weeks since I told him about this. So I'm guessing he's talking to colleagues for you or something.
Yeah, I know. It just seems like that when you're having an issue with cheese withdrawal, the first thing you want to go and do is get pasteurized.
I hate you. I'm so upset right now. Oh my god. God damn it, Xander.
Speaking of things that get us upset, they've now confirmed that Batman vs Superman will actually feature 2 more DC superheroes. They of course have announced The Flash and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I've seen literally nothing about The Flash being in it, so I don't know anything about that.
I think it's just been confirmed, but I don't think they have a cast for him yet. But they have cast Wonder Woman. She is a model and actress named Gal Gadot, I think is maybe the way she's pronouncing it. I'm not really sure, but I don't know much about her. I know she's in a couple of Fast and Furious movies, and she's the girl I'm thinking of. I mean, she'll do a decent job of, kicking butt as Wonder Woman, but there's, we're talking about a movie that's supposed to feature Batman and Superman, and we're bringing in the whole damn Justice League, and it's going to be a Spider-Man 3 situation again.
Well,
So.
I don't think... realistically, there was never really a chance for this movie to be good, because Zack Snyder clearly does not understand Superman well enough to make these movies about him.
You don't think so?
He made Man of Steel, right?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Okay, so he's already had Superman killing a dude, which is kind of Superman's whole deal, is he doesn't ever kill anybody.
Well, no, but it... And this is a point that's been raised by a couple of people, but I honestly thought, because I went and saw Man of Steel in the theaters, and it was pretty much my favorite movie of the year until Pacific Rim came out.
Yeah, you sounded really excited about it.
I
You
was
texted
really
me
stoked,
about it,
and I mean, there are some issues that have been pointed out, but just, I understand what he was going with there. The fact that, Zod, who at this point has been his greatest enemy, and has shown that he will not stop at just, conquering and being a douchebag and all that stuff, that it is the only option for Superman is to kill him, that I definitely think it was actually a bit of a genius move, and it shows where that Superman has been at this point before, pardon me, and he clearly does not like being at that point, so I think that's what sets him on the path to not killing anymore. I can understand the issues that people take with it, but I also understand what the filmmakers were trying to achieve with it as well.
Okay, well, I guess, I don't know, I still need to actually see it, so I can't make a lot of judgments about the quality of the film itself.
Right.
But based on, I mean, that's I just don't like that departure for Superman. It's very uncharacteristic of him, and this is the thing that's really been bothering me about Superman for several years now, is whenever anybody tries to retell him, they want to make him this brooding, tough badass, and that's not...
Well,
okay.
that gets back to what I've been saying for a while now, is that the Christopher Nolan Batman movies fucked up comic books for everybody else, because that's what people want the comic book movies to be now, which is why I think Avengers made so much money and was such a surprise, because it's not dark at all. Avengers was really bright, and it's awesome. It's amazing.
Yeah, I expected to hate Avengers. On my Twitter and on my Tumblr before the movie came out, I'm very blatant about the fact that I had no positive expectations for the movie whatsoever. I don't like Joss Whedon's work very much at all. I don't like Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man because I don't like the fact that it's like when they took Jack Sparrow, the focus of Pirates of the Caribbean. As soon as you make the unlikable, jokey, snarky douchebag the focus of the franchise, he just gets incredibly annoying and overused. And I was afraid that this was going to be the Tony Stark show with Joss Whedon's "I'm so brilliant" dialogue all the time. So the Avengers actually was a surprisingly good movie, and everything after Batman Begins I really just did not enjoy. I didn't like The Dark Knight, as you know.
Really? Yeah, I think we have touched on that before, but
yeah, no, I didn't like it. I liked Harvey Dent, and that was about the only thing about
the Joker.
Dude, I hated the Joker.
Really?
Yeah.
How
we
have
had this
we
conversation?
not talked about this? Have we not?
I don't know. No, I hated Heath Ledger as an actor did an amazing job but the writing of that role, I can't stand it.
So it's not that you dislike the performance; it's the direction they took with him.
Yeah, the performance was fine. I mean, Heath Ledger did the best he could with what I think was just a very terrible writing job. Because what people don't understand about the Joker, or what I feel people don't understand about the Joker, is that he's not an anarchist. He's not patternless and just this pure embodiment of chaos. Jokes have punchlines, and following that logic, the Joker's plans always have logical endings. As soon as he says the line, "Do I look like the kind of guy who has a plan?" you've betrayed the entire character in order to make a serial killer who dresses like the Joker.
I mean, I think there's actually kind of a point made like that in the animated series where Harley makes like this big elaborate plan.
Yes.
And she has to I think there's something about like having to explain it to the Joker or something really pisses him off to the point where he shoves her out a window.
Yeah, I don't like... Okay, first of all, I don't like the Joker as a character anyway, because he's really abusive, aside from the fact that he's a deranged mass murderer. But that is very illustrative of his character, though. He cares about the setup. He cares about the joke, about the punchline. These are the things that are important to him, and to ignore that when you write his character, I think it either betrays a lack of understanding of the character, or just a lack of respect for the character. And so I see that Joker portrayal. I see this Superman portrayal. And I don't have any faith in these creators to do these characters justice. So I'm worried about, first of all, I haven't seen anything conclusive about The Flash one way or another.
Yeah.
I don't care about that. Secondly, Wonder Woman is the only reason I would even bother to see Batman versus Superman.
And she's going to be so shoehorned in. I mean, not only do you have to establish Batman's character and what's going on with him, and then the way he and Superman interact, but you've also got to integrate the Flash, and you've got to integrate Wonder Woman. Yeah, this is going to be, I think, a bit of a disaster.
Well, even if Wonder Woman isn't shoehorned in, if she somehow inexplicably is an actual character in the film, Zack Snyder is not very good with female characters anyway. He does okay in movies that have literally only one female character, like 300 or Watchmen, which I watched recently because that's my favorite comic book. Yeah,
you showed me your collection the other day. That is extensive.
My Watchmen collection is the only thing that rivals my Godzilla collection in size, actually. There's a picture on my my Tumblr, not my Facebook, and I'll probably put it on Instagram later, but my Watchmen collection is huge. I'm a huge fan of the comic book and of the film. Zack Snyder did okay with Silk Spectre. He did okay with Queen Gorgo in 300, but Wonder Woman is a whole different entity. She's a whole other animal. She deserves so much more respect and focus than Snyder's going to be willing to give her. And
she deserves a full movie. Is what
she does. She deserves a whole franchise all to herself, but she's just worlds beyond what he's capable of delivering on as a director, as a storyteller. So the only reason I'm going to go see this movie is if she turns out to be in it, even though I know he's not going to do a good job portraying her, and I'm probably going to be incredibly disappointed.
So I'm taking it this is a bad time to mention that I own and like Sucker Punch.
Yeah, I've read the synopsis of it. It sounds really gross, and I don't want to watch it.
There are some issues, but it's pretty...
Well, I will reserve my judgment. I will just keep it silently disapproving.
Okay. I'm used to it.
Yeah, you are. This is kind of the tenor of our relationship, is me constantly berating you, and you just kind of doing stuff to antagonize me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, okay.
So that's the latest thing I've been being grouchy about, apparently.
Yeah, is Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman!
I like her as a character a lot.
She's a really cool character. I've been watching the Justice League animated series, and I like her in that show a lot. Although, I just watched that episode, the three-parter where they go back to World War II to stop Vandal Savage, which I think is my favorite three-parter. That's another thing I noticed. Justice League is nothing but multi-parters. Like, every episode is like 2 or 3 multi-parts, and it's just like, holy cow, how did this... I'm just amazed that it was able to succeed the way it did.
One thing that I suspect is that they started doing storylines on Justice League they either couldn't get away with in the comics or didn't have time to dedicate, a full year of special edition issues to, and so they rolled them over into Justice League plotlines.
Yeah, that would make sense.
That at least is my suspicion, because if I was involved in the comics industry, that's what I would try to do. If I had an idea for a story arc that nobody was going to pick up because I was just some nobody, I would go to the Justice League writers or the Batman Brave and the Bold writers, and I would say, I have an idea for a storyline. Do you guys want to use it in your show? And obviously, I have no idea how that pitching process works. I don't know what DC Animated is like from an insider's perspective. But if I had to guess, I would say that's part of what they're doing.
Right. But anyway, back to this three-parter is that she kind of starts a romance with this character during World War II, and it's just really, really quick, and I'm just like, this seems kind of off for her character. And part of that, too, is because there's another multi-parter where they get blasted into an alternate universe, and it's based on, like, the golden age of comics, so you have, like, this female hero, but she's still very housewifey. Like, at one point she goes, let's let the men talk, and she tries to lead hot girl into the kitchen, and she says something to the lines of, like, they can say whatever they want in front of me just fine. And so, I mean, it's clear that these characters, these writers know how to write female characters, so they would just seem a lot of out of character for Wonder Woman. But anyway, yeah, I like the Wonder Woman character a lot, and just kind of her origins and stuff are always kind of neat. So that's another thing that I'm concerned about, too, is if they show Themyscira, I'm not concerned about the ways Snyder will portray it, because he clearly has an eye for big set pieces, but again, it's going to be quick.
Yeah, he does understand big set pieces in the way that you need to. I mean, his work in Watchmen is just phenomenal. It's flawless the way he replicated the world. And even stuff that's only on screen for a few minutes, like Karnak, the big stronghold where the fight at the end of the film takes place. And in the comic book, the end takes place there too. Even things like that, which are just really briefly shown, he does a good job of making these lavish worlds and these really gorgeous sets. And sometimes his stories leave a little bit to be desired. He did an amazing job with Watchmen, but that was completely an adaptation. That wasn't an original thing where he got to put his own spin on it so much. And he would have probably caught in a lot of flack if he had tried to do that.
I think we're gonna have to I'm gonna have to revisit Watchmen, both the graphic novel and the movie, and we're gonna have to talk about that some more.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I've actually got because I read the comic and I watched the movie in the same day. I watched the movie right after I finished the comic, and so I'm still really psyched about it. I would watch it again, and I'm gonna let Black Hole Girl borrow the comic and then watch the movie with me, so she can kind of see what she thinks about it too.
Oh yeah,
yeah, I think she'll really enjoy it.
Yeah, you were telling me that she was talking about Stargate and how Stargate is her kind of Godzilla. Like, that's the thing that she gravitates towards most when it comes to stuff like that. And we've had discussions before because the guy that, of course, originally created or directed Stargate is, of course, Roland Emmerich, who would about 10 years down the line? No, sorry. Stargate was what, 93, 94?
I believe it was 94.
Okay, so it was only a few years, but of course, a few years down the line, he would go on to direct the 1998 Godzilla movie, which of course we've discussed at length, time and time again.
Yeah,
but, It was one of the few Roland Emmerich movies I had never seen, and you were calling it his favorite, your favorite one of his. You think it's his best film, and I watched it, and it's got some very, very cool designs and things like that, but I don't know, there's something about it that I just couldn't get into, and I felt it was really drawn out and paced weirdly, and I don't know. I still think Independence Day is his best one.
Well, I think you might not have been able to appreciate it as much because you're not as smart as I am, but
we're gonna take that route, huh?
Well, that I don't ever vocalize it. I always take that route. I just normally don't say it to your face. No, I mean, are we gonna talk about Stargate now, or because
no? I just wanted to kind of bring it up briefly.
Okay.
This is
a
podcast. I'm here to make conversations.
Well, no, I understand. I just on the original subject of the Wonder Woman casting, if a director that I thought was more capable was the one that was connected to this film, I would be more excited about it. The woman that is going to be playing Wonder Woman, she looks the part.
Yeah, definitely. That was a big outcry too that I was hearing about, that there were some people complaining that she was not stacked enough to be Wonder Woman. I'm just like, oh, yep, I'm on the internet.
Yeah, that's a whole can of worms of a discussion I don't want to go anywhere near. The fact that even a character that's kind of become a feminist icon is subject to that standard is still is incredibly crappy, and it's really sad. But this is the internet, and these are comic book fans, and that's kind of their whole deal.
Yeah, exactly.
So, no, I guess to summarize how I feel about it, if we had a better director, I would be psyched for it, because I love Wonder Woman. She's the only character that I would go and see the movie for, because I don't think I'm going to enjoy Snyder's Batman very much. Or, sorry, Snyder's Superman very much.
Well, it's also going to be Snyder's Batman.
Oh, okay. Well, and I don't like Batman enough in general anyway.
I
don't
still
like
don't
him
know what Affleck's going to do. Supposedly, people are talking about, like, they've seen his costume and they've seen the writing, and it's going to be really cool. I'm just like...
Yeah, Kevin Smith tweeted that he saw the costume, and if Kevin Smith's opinions mean something to you, then I guess that's encouraging.
Oh, Kevin Smith is not the president of nerds. I could have sworn we've been over this. I love Kevin Smith. Don't get me wrong, I love Kevin Smith, but...
He's done some good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It's weird. Quick deviation. I was watching Chasing Amy the other day. I was texting you about this, but one thing I didn't mention was that Chasing Amy is famous because it's pretty much got the longest bit of Silent Bob dialogue in it, and he talks about this lost love interest that he has, and that's a reference to the title is Chasing Amy, and that's what he's talking about in his everyday since they broke up. He's been chasing Amy. But the weird thing is that immediately after that scene, curiously enough, Ben Affleck's character goes to his two friends, the ones that he's been in this conflict with, and proposes the exact same thing that Silent Bob just told him is not the way to do it. So I always thought that was weird, and it actually took me out of the movie completely. Like, I had to stop watching. I'm like, I did not remember this happening. You've lost me.
I think the reason for a character soliciting another character's advice and then going and doing the opposite, I'm pretty sure that happens for what's called comedy.
But it's not even funny. It's just painful.
Maybe it's ironic then, because that was a thing in his earlier films. Because, I mean, do you remember at the end of Clerks, Dante originally was going to be killed at the end of the film?
Yes, I do. I've seen that ending before.
I have as well.
Crazy.
But, I mean, that's my thing. Kevin Smith did a lot in his early work, especially about things being hopeless or desolate or people screwing up and just being in dead-end situations. And so that might have been his reason for that.
It could have been,
it was probably just supposed to be ironic and poignant and stuff. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that's even farther away from the subject than Stargate was.
Yeah, but let's backtrack a little bit, because yesterday we finally got backtracking to 1998. We finally got an official trailer for the Gareth Edwards Godzilla reboot coming out next May.
Yeah, you know what I think about that?
Yeah, I think you've told me what you think about that.
I was going to say, I think we needed to change topics.
I think we need to as well. So let's go ahead and change topics into talking about the Godzilla trailer. Here we go.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
All right. Well, okay. Godzilla trailer came out on the 10th, about an hour after I got internet access at our new apartment. So that was
perfect
fun for
timing.
Me. Yeah, pretty much. The trailer is out. It has been out for a little while now. How do you feel about it?
I am incredibly stoked, even more so than I was before it came out. I mean, this, in my eyes, this movie is like Pacific Rim already, and to me is already going to be infallible. The opening shot of the trailer shows a military team being briefed. And then they do a halo jump, and they parachute into a disaster fallen city.
Yeah, it's called like High Altitude Looks Awesome or something. It's a maneuver specifically for trailers.
Right, exactly. And you realize that they're jumping into this absolutely devastated city, and then you realize that they're jumping into a city that, oh holy crap, Godzilla is still there, and to have that as the opening shot and just give you an idea of what we're gonna be dealing with in this movie is gonna be awesome. And I think that it's definitely gonna be one of the movies of the year next year. I definitely think it's gonna be fantastic, and I can't wait to see more footage of it, because there is, of course, a lot of footage. Some weirdo on the internet was complaining that there's about 2.5 minutes worth of humans and then about 10 seconds of Godzilla, and they were taking an issue with that, and I can understand, but at the same time, it's a teaser. Now, granted, it's a 2.5 minute long teaser, but still, it's a teaser trailer nonetheless, and we have had some pretty pretty decent looks at Godzilla so far, and I'm sure that we'll get plenty more as the months go on.
Okay.
But what did you think about it?
I hated it.
You actually hated it because
I didn't hate it in the sense that like I was angry and disgusted and I don't want to see the movie.
Right.
It just makes me incredibly concerned and very nervous and much less optimistic than I have been about this movie. Because, as you said, there was some weirdo on the internet complaining about how in this trailer that's 2 minutes and 43 seconds long, only 13 of those seconds had Godzilla in them. That was actually me, as I remember, because that was how I phrased it.
I thought that tone sounded familiar.
Yeah, that was probably me. That was me.
Okay.
First of all, it's been referred to pretty constantly as the official trailer, not as a teaser anymore.
Oh.
Which is pretty disingenuous. If let's say somebody from the studio was like, "Well, you don't see him a whole lot because this is just our teaser," but then all their marketing is saying official trailer, that is disingenuous, and that's not okay with me. I'm not really gonna just and I'm not like trying to get on you for that. I'm just saying I don't agree with that. Like I don't accept that argument for that reason. Because either this is a trailer for the film showing us that we're going to actually see Godzilla, or it's just another teaser where they're just hinting at him and I don't get to actually see what he looks like. And so, I understand the fact that we have to build up hype. We have to market this film in a way that makes it seem believable and palatable and acceptable to non-kaiju fans. I get all of those things. Those are vastly important parts of marketing. But on a personal level, on a very real level, I am really afraid that I'm going to hate this design. After that leaked little cardboard cutout or billboard thing that started going around Tumblr a few months ago that made his head look weirdly misshapen and strangely like a dog's head, I just have been incredibly, incredibly nervous with the design for Godzilla in this film. I need to see enough of him at once, at enough angles at once, that I can know for sure how I feel about this design. Because he needs to look good. He needs to be scary and awe-inspiring, and he needs to look like Godzilla. And until I can see that to my own personal satisfaction, I can't let myself get excited about this, because I'm pretty sick of being let down.
Yeah, no, I could understand that, because if I might try and peek into your head here a little bit, I'm going to get an idea that your concern is that they might try to approach a advertising stance kind of like they did back in 98, where you really didn't see much of Godzilla. You just saw, maybe his foot or things that are talking about, oh, his foot is as big as this bus, or his head is as big as this billboard. And I mean, if that's... I'm hoping they don't go that direction, because we don't have the attention span for that anymore as a society. I'm hoping that they just go full bore and go, next trailer, boom, here he is. This is Godzilla, and you can, rest assured, you're going to see tons of him in the movie.
Yeah, I want to believe that's the case, but until that happens, until I get to see him, I can't let myself get excited about this. I can't set myself up for that disappointment. Godzilla, and everybody knows this about me. Everybody knows that I've got a personal, really strong emotional investment in the Godzilla franchise. I want the movies to do well. I get upset and I get sad and I get hurt or offended if people say mean stuff about the franchise or about the films.
Me last night.
Well, yeah, I did. You got really mad on Twitter at somebody about it, and I was very proud of you.
Someone on Twitter called Godzilla. They were saying that it looks like another paint by numbers disaster flick, and I went on a rant about how that's never been. I mean, even the disaster that was 1998 really wasn't even paint by numbers. It was just poor filmmaking.
It was just a bad Godzilla movie. If this was some other giant monster, if this had been Cloverfield, if the 98 Godzilla movie had just had some other name and we weren't pretending that this was Godzilla, that this was a character from a decades-old franchise, and we were just like, it's a summer blockbuster movie about a giant iguana thing, then I would have been okay with it. But the way that it was packaged as a Godzilla film is what upset me about it. And I just don't want the thing I enjoy least about a Godzilla movie to be Godzilla himself.
Exactly.
That's just wrong. And so I'm nervous, and I'm not going to be optimistic the way that I want to be until I get to see more of Godzilla. And so this trailer has really just made me more nervous and more uncertain about the film. And God knows I want this movie to be great. I want to love it as much as I love Pacific Rim or more. I've never been disappointed by a Godzilla movie except for like Godzilla's Revenge, which doesn't even have Godzilla in it except for like 5 minutes.
It's all like stock footage, isn't it?
It's pretty much all stock footage. They recorded an original scene where Godzilla fights... well, actually, I don't think he... Okay, Godzilla briefly fights Gabara, who is a monster that a young child dreams about, and he represents the bully in the real world that's been picking on the young child. And so Godzilla dispatches him really quickly. But aside from stuff like that, Godzilla is important to me.
Definitely.
Like, on a very sentimental and emotional level. And so I'm just afraid that I'm going to be really disappointed and really sad when this is all over. I certainly don't want to be, and I'm hoping that I'm not, but I can't get optimistic about it. I can't let myself get optimistic about it.
I'm hoping that we'll start seeing more stuff with him, and I'm hoping that the viral site that they have launched yields some interesting results, and hopefully as we start seeing maybe some toy mock-ups and things like that, we'll have an idea of what we're going to be dealing with next May. But but for now, I can understand your the fact that you're on guard about things, and like I said, I'm pretty stoked for this movie, but I see where you're coming from, and I'm going to reserve myself a little bit until we know more about it, and we'll definitely be talking about it some more. But yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can say about a 2-minute trailer, so I think we're going ahead and we're going to go ahead and move on now, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I don't want to come off as being just like grouchy for the sake of negativity or something. I'm trying to just make sure people are aware that this is because I have a major personal investment in this being good and in this going right. And I want this to succeed. I want to be excited and happy about this movie. It's so important to me. So I'm not trying to just bitch about it for 15 minutes. I need it to be good. And I'm nervous in the meantime. That's all.
So let's deviate a little bit. I have an idea of something I want to talk about, but I don't know if maybe you wanted to bring something else up. But I wanted to talk about that other Japanese thing I've been talking to you about over the course of the last couple of weeks or so. If you know where I'm going with that.
Oh, yeah, that porn you downloaded that you won't stop sending me pictures from. And I told you to stop, and I talked to Leah about it, and I asked her if she could make you stop. And then she was like, I didn't know he watched porn. And then I'm sorry if she yelled at you about that, because I didn't mean to, start something between the two of you. She seemed...
I'm so sorry, dude, I know you like giant monsters. I thought tentacles would be up your alley.
Yeah, I don't like tentacles up my anything, which seemed to be and I didn't even know that was the title of the thing you were watching for a while, too, which I thought was kind of funny. But... Let's drop this one. I don't like this one anymore.
What I'm actually talking about is, as if you're a faithful listener to ShallowCast, you know that I am a big fan of the current Sentai series airing in Japan, Kyoryuger, which is, of course, a Sentai series is what eventually gets adapted into Power Rangers. I've been a big fan of this one. It's another dinosaur-themed Sentai, and their morphers are blasters, and there's so much stuff to like about it. But Sentai series are actually kind of weird in Japan, because usually what they'll do is they'll have a big summary. When I say summer, I mean it's a movie that they release in the summer, theatrically, that even ties into the show. I've actually had 2 episodes that deal heavily with content explored in the movie, and to me that's weird, because they don't usually do that. I mean, even with Power Rangers, the first Power Rangers movie was a completely separate entity with from the continuity of the show, and then Power Rangers Turbo, which was the second movie, led into the series, but didn't take place right in the middle. It was a lead up to the series. But anyway, so they had a big summer movie, and then they're actually also having a team up, which is of course a staple of Power Rangers as well, given that they're adapting the same footage. But the big difference is that the team up movie that's coming out next January, I believe it is actually going to feature the other 2 Dinosaur Sentai. That'd actually be pretty awesome.
No way.
Dinosaur Sentai teams, which are, of course, Zeo Ranger from back in the early 90s, and then Aba Ranger,
okay.
which came out in the early 2000s. And then those shows were respectively adapted into, of course, the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and then Power Rangers Dino Thunder. So...
Yeah, I was going to say, I actually remember Power Rangers Zeo. That was about where I stopped
Power
watching.
Rangers Zeo was a few years after that. But anyway, so this team-up movie is actually going to feature all three dinosaur teams fighting together. And just to see those three teams together, Dino Thunder is actually probably my favorite Power Rangers series. And then, of course, followed by Mighty Morphin. To see those three teams that were, of course, a big part of my initial childhood being Power Rangers, and then Dino Thunder as I was getting older, and now, of course, Kyoryuger. See those three teams in one place at one time, mechanically, it's going to be awesome. It's just going to be fantastic. In fact, the team-up movie is actually called The Great Dinosaur War. So, I'm stoked.
Yeah, what I thought you were going to say was, and they're actually doing a team-up, which is when a group of different characters all get together. I thought that's where you're going with that, and I was like,
No.
Xander?
No, that's what happened in the 15th anniversary back in Operation Overdrive, which was a mess of a series altogether. But it had a bunch of different Rangers teaming up for weird reasons, and it's a mess. But
okay, I do like the fact that there are certain media outlets that are more willing to do crossovers than others. I mean, Japanese media apparently is really open to doing crossovers of stuff a lot of the time. Comic books, of course, at this point are, it's mandatory for your comics to cross over several times with other comics.
Sometimes a year even. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And, stuff like video games like Super Smash Brothers or Marvel vs. Capcom, or even things that are just in-house crossovers, like Blizzard Entertainment is releasing... I can't remember what they're calling it now. Blizzard All-Stars. And it's characters from Warcraft and Star...
Something like that?
Yeah, that's the subtitle, I believe. But that's going to be like characters from Warcraft and StarCraft and Diablo all fighting. But I like stuff like that, and it's interesting to me which forms of media lend themselves to that more easily than others.
I actually found out the other day that there was a 4-series crossover of... It was Aliens versus Predator versus Witchblade versus The Darkness.
I have actually read that.
Oh, okay.
I have, yeah. I went through this kick where this was while we were living in Russia. Somebody sent me the DVD for Alien versus Predator. And I actually really liked that movie. Aside from, it's got a lot of flaws in it that the original draft and all the deleted scenes tend to fix almost completely. It's more in spirit with the other Alien films because the protagonist is a woman, and she's really awesome. I think her name is... I don't know how you pronounce her name, unfortunately. It's Sanaa Lathan or
badass,
or Lathan. She's great in it, and she's really funny in the DVD commentary. It's a better movie than I think people give it credit for, and I like it quite a bit. But all that is to say that I went through this... I went through this thing where I was downloading a ton of Aliens stuff to read, and one of the things I found was Alien versus Predator versus Witchblade in The Darkness. And on its own, it's not so bad because Witchblade and The Darkness cross over a lot. I think the protagonists from those series were love interests for a while.
I think The Darkness actually originates in Witchblade and then splinters off.
You know what? I think you're right.
So
it's kind of and so it's actually not that bad. There have been a surprising amount of Alien comic crossovers and Predator comic crossovers. Batman, Green Lantern, Superman, they've all fought the Aliens and the Predators, I believe.
That expanded universe is huge. Like,
it's
probably
it's surprisingly extensive.
Because I don't count comics as an expanded universe. Because again, you're talking about you're talking about when I say comics, I'm talking about like Marvel and DC. Like those were comics first. When I think expanded universes, like I'm thinking like Star Wars. Stuff that originated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to say like the Aliens and Predator expanded universe is probably the second biggest I know of next to Star Wars.
Honestly, I think that it is, and I was gonna agree with you on that because I don't really, aside from stuff like Alien versus Predator versus Witchblade in comics, I don't really count Marvel and DC crossovers among that because that stuff happens basically every issue. But and I believe that Star Wars actually is where the term expanded universe comes from originally. So yeah, that's that. I would say that the Alien and Predator universes are one of the probably the second biggest expanded universe. I can't think of any
Star Trek
others.
Is big, but I mean, we're talking.
Oh, that's
again,
true.
We're talking about Star Wars goes literally back tens of thousands of years, and then with Alien versus Predator, you've got a lot of stuff going on there too. So I would imagine that universe wise, we're probably getting similar in size between Aliens versus Predator and Star Trek, but.
I'd be interested to talk to an actual Trekkie about that, because I genuinely don't know.
My Star Trek knowledge is very limited to some of the stuff I've seen. I know one person who would be great to talk to, but we will never be able to get him on this show. So,
is it George
Takei?
Takei?
It's an internet reviewer that I watch, and as cool as he is, I know he's always so busy, and we're just not at that point yet. So.
Okay. Well, no, see, I don't know any Trekkies either. I mean, I know some on Tumblr, but Black Hole Girl doesn't really know Star Trek as well as... I mean, she knows Voyager, and other than that,
Janeway,
it's all Star Wars and Stargate. Yeah, Voyager was Janeway. That's the only Star Wars TV show I've ever seen, aside from, like, The Trouble with Tribbles.
Apparently, in the expanded universe, Janeway becomes the board queen.
That's unfortunate.
I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting. It's an interesting turn of events. But anyway, we digress.
We do. So the original topic was your Sentai show.
Yep.
And then I apologize for sidetracking from that with crossover stuff, but I'm always fascinated by that. Yeah.
But I think it's going to be really cool. But then, and then we have a new Sentai starting up next year, and it has to deal with trains. And
because I just to provide some context for that, the different iterations of this show all have the villains and the characters' outfits and powers centered around a specific theme, like insects or dinosaurs, or apparently fruits and vegetables once.
Well, that's actually,
and now it's going to be
Kamen
trains.
Rider, which is part of the same type of genre.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Kamen Rider is the same genre, but it's not the same show.
Right.
I apologize.
Kyoryuger actually has a really, really cool cast of villains because they're all like based around human emotions and things like that. So it's really, really cool. And there's actually probably the first time I can think of where I wanted to see Sentai villains survive this series just because they're so much fun and they don't really mean much harm. But
I just wanted to provide the context for the fact you were saying it's about trains.
The next series,
because otherwise that sounds even
the next
dumber.
series is about trains, and from what I've seen, I'm concerned, but I'm going to choose to derail my opinions until it actually happens.
So you don't
I like
trains?
I just, based on the designs and stuff, I mean, like literally, like the Megazords in Kyoryuger are different dinosaurs that snap together, and then the Megazord for this new Sentai coming out next year just looks like the trains just kind of stand up and stack together, and I'm just concerned about it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we'll see what happens to when it comes out.
Yeah, that'll be another one I guess we'll have to wait and try to reserve judgment for until then.
Yeah. So,
well, speaking of judgment, I actually solicited questions on Tumblr and Facebook and Twitter for the show tonight.
That was a terrible idea.
It kind of was. These questions are universally awful. They come from people I dislike and don't respect, and they're about topics I don't care about and have no interest in.
Business as usual, then.
No, I'm kidding. They only come from one person that I don't respect. Okay.
I didn't ask
all right, I'm done with that. I'm sorry. Oh, that's right. Okay, then I guess I respect everybody that asked me questions. Well, do you want to segue into answering some mail from fans,
let's do
I guess?
Question time.
All right, hit that button.
Another button. We got a button for questions, too. All the buttons. Yes, I've got
do?
so many buttons. All right.
Go ahead and do that.
I hit it.
Why would you do that?
Oh, good job. Okay, well, I have our Facebook page open, and I have a little notepad document with the questions that I took in other places, like from Tumblr and Twitter. Do you want to read a question and we'll answer it, and then I'll read a question and we'll answer
Let's
it?
take a look here and see which question we want to ask first.
Okay.
Oh, here's a good one. Here's a good one from a Mr. Scott Krause.
I know him.
Anyway.
We wrote a TV show together.
He wants to know, why is it that we don't see many satyrs running on centaurs? Satyrs are, of course, half men, half goats, and then centaurs are
Yes.
half man, half horse.
Well, they're like a third horse and a quarter
okay.
human. Well, because the horse part is
That's
so much
true.
larger. I'm just trying to figure out the ratio.
That's true. Yeah, there is a big ratio difference.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, he goes on to say they both understand juxtaposition. They both have furry hindquarters, so chafing shouldn't be an issue. And with 4 arms, they could hold twice the stuff. This seems like a missed opportunity.
It does, and I've been trying to think of a good answer to why, and I really can't think of why they wouldn't. Although, given that they're both kind of half grazing animal, it could be something with just having issues with having feet on the ground or something like that. But
Well, clearly you don't know any satyrs, because I can answer this question. Well, I mean, okay, first of all, I have to acknowledge the fact that to ask this question in the first place betrays a lack of historical knowledge. Satyrs and centaurs, traditionally, they come from different parts of the world, and culturally they just do not mesh. Centaurs are largely a patriarchal society. They are, contrary to the Harry Potter portrayal, they're very, very unintelligent. They're very savage, very hostile and aggressive creatures. And centaurs, they're kind of like the Vikings of the animal people canon. So, centaurs are jerks. And satyrs are largely considered peace-loving and playful and friendly creatures. Not like fawns. Then the only difference there is that fawns are scary, like the fawn in Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, right, okay,
But,
yeah.
Satyrs generally are traditionally non-violent. Their religion is pagan in nature. Centaurs have a very militaristic religion that centers around one god. And satyrs are just, they're all about, like, the earth and the plants and the water and stuff. So it's just for philosophical and cultural reasons, mainly, that satyrs would never ride a centaur.
That makes sense.
Without saying anything racially offensive, I don't want to make any of those comparisons. They just don't really associate with one another for the same reasons that people who are historically oppressive toward certain other groups of people are not trusted by the groups of people they have spent centuries oppressing.
Okay. Now that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. It's that kind of thing.
Okay.
There's an emotion of suspicion and nervousness about the whole affair. And that's why you never see a satyr riding a centaur.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, you want to go ahead and answer or answer a question? You just did that. Go ahead and ask a question.
Okay, well, I don't want to ask this My Little Pony one because I don't want to invoke that on the show ever.
Let me see this one. I gotta see this one. Oh, that's easy. Rainbow Dash's best pony. We're done.
Okay, are we done? All right. My friend Lala actually sent me a question.
Okay.
She doesn't have a nerd type question, but she wants me to come up with a name for her fan fiction about Cary Grant and Tom Hiddleston. And I can do that quite easily. Cary Grant, dude, the actor.
Right, okay.
And obviously, if you're going to write a fanfic about Cary Grant and Tom Hiddleston, you're going to call it Up All Night to Get Loki.
That's
I've been saving that one. I've been saving that one.
That's a good
I've been
one.
saving that one.
Yeah. Hey, he actually
Sorry.
died in Iowa. Look at that. Okay. Yeah, no, that's really funny.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm here all week.
Looks like we have a question from... I don't know how to pronounce her actual name, but I've been told that she likes to be called Dizzy.
Yeah, Dizzy Hellfire is an associate of mine from way back on the Kaiju Big Battle forums. And someday I will have to do a show where I explain what the hell Kaiju Big Battle is. And I am partially looking forward to that and partially dreading it. But that day will come. It is not this day. Go ahead and answer one of the 75 questions that she put on our Facebook page.
She wants to know what my least favorite kaiju is and my most favorite. And I feel like I've answered most favorite before.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say some of these kaiju questions that came up, we have already covered. If you've got somewhere to go with that, though, then go for it.
I'm trying to remember what I said for my most favorite. It was probably Godzilla. I am also really big fans of Gamera, and then of course, all the different evil kaiju in Pacific Rim, and then there's so many. I mean, again, Godzilla's been around for 60 years. There's so much that you could talk about with the different monsters. I mean, I guess if I had to pick a least favorite, it would be Batra, and the only reason is because while I'm a fan of the design, they've never revisited him, and I think it would be a really interesting revisit, just because story-wise it wasn't bad. It was not bad design, it's not bad story, it's just he's probably had the least amount of focus on him, and so I would have to say that's my least favorite, just because I don't know nearly enough about him.
Batra actually is an interesting kaiju because he lends himself really well to gritty reboot. I mean, he's very spiky and pointy and dark colored anyway.
Right, definitely.
So he seems like a good kaiju to bring back. If we start getting, well,
I'm done. Yep.
Are you? I feel like you're not going to be done until you're dead.
Probably, but.
Okay. Well, anyway, no, that's what I think about Batra. He'd be an interesting kaiju to use in some kind of gritty, dark kaiju reboot. But he is very underused. Nobody really does anything with him. So Batra's probably your least favorite?
Again, just because I don't know enough about him.
Okay, that's fair.
There's not enough for me to like, so that's why he's my least favorite.
No, that's understandable. I have a favorite obscure kaiju nobody's ever heard of.
What's that?
His name is Saibo.
Oh, was he the one you were telling me about from Gamma the Brave? No.
No. That is Zetas.
What are you talking about?
Saibo is a kaiju from the American version of a Saban show that nobody watched. The show in America was called Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad.
I had a feeling that's where you're going with that. Oh, I watched the shit out of that show.
Yes, actually. I watched, 3 or 4 episodes before it got canceled.
The mega thingy. The Ultraman thingy that they combined with.
Nobody even remembers the merchandise from the show. That's how obscure it was. No, I had a Saibo action figure, actually. He's purple, and he's got spikes coming out of him, but only on, the back of his neck.
But yeah, no, I had the figure, and he had the tank chest plate drilled shoulder pad things. No, I know exactly.
Yeah, Saibo is hilariously obscure. Actually, I just typed his name into Google image search, just Sybo, and he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. He's 18 rows of images down.
Jeez, 18 images down? 18 images down?
18 rows of images, as in 5 images per row as I scroll down. Yes. Although, to be fair, if I put the name of the show after him, I probably would have found him a lot sooner.
Yeah, that was... that had Tim Curry playing the main antagonist.
Yeah, actually. No, he's hilariously obscure. And I don't even know why I thought of that, except for you talked about how Batra's only been used a couple times and nobody really remembers it now. Oh my gosh,
dude, they released Superhuman Samurais out on DVD.
I'm not surprised. It's on. Is it on Netflix or is it VR Troopers? It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
But I will probably go and try and order this right now because I need to own this show. Dude, the fact that it actually exists on DVD,
it's kind of stunning.
Look
actually.
At this. Yeah. Volume 1.
Look at this. Excuse me.
Volume 1 is $6. Volume 2 is $9. I can own the entire series for $17.
For less than the price of a sandwich.
Well, a New York sandwich, maybe.
I buy some very expensive sandwiches. Yeah. A sandwich is that thing you get at the pound, right? With the fur?
No, I believe that is called a pet.
Oh!
Yes.
Jeez.
Yes.
So, okay. I think I had some of my words mixed up then.
You're not supposed to eat them. Unless you live in places where Sentais might come from.
So what I should do is get all the things I thought were pets out of my fridge.
Because they're probably cold.
Yes. Bad decision. Okay, well, I learned a new word today, so go me.
Hooray for Nathan. But, I'm trying to see if I can find a picture of this guy. But anyway, let's ask another question.
Well, how about we answer one instead?
Let's do that.
Well, because I could ask questions all night, but that'd be a boring podcast.
Okay. Looks like our old friend Trevor has asked us some questions. So let's see what he's.
He is
let's
old.
See what he has asked us.
All right.
Or we could just have some technical difficulties. That's good too.
Yeah, that was kind of unfortunate because that was a lot of stuff that got recorded on my end, but not other
apparently
ends.
My audio didn't want to cooperate, so that's fun.
Yeah. So I guess we should apologize to Trevor.
Yeah. Sorry, man. We did have some questions and we answered them quite competently.
I answered like 3 of his questions all by myself.
Yeah. But we'll try and get you next time.
Yeah, because we've got questions for next time now. Some.
Yeah, we definitely do. We'll have to keep that post in recent memory.
Yeah.
And keep it somewhere safe.
It'll stay on the ShallowCast page, so I can still find it.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, so that's not so bad. But yeah, sorry, Trevor.
But I think with that, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up for this episode of ShallowCast.
Okay.
Of course, you can find us on our respective social media sites. There's, of course, the ShallowCast Tumblr, which I think is actually shallow37.tumblr.com. It might even be Shallow37 Media. I'm not quite sure off the top of my head, but of course, link in the description.
Yeah, it's just shallow37.tumblr.com.
It's just Shallow37. Okay, and then, of course, I can be found at twitter.com/XanderGrimm, as well as the XanderGrimm Show. .tumblr.com.
Mm-hmm.
And Nathan, where can we find you?
You can find me in Oregon.
Oh, kind of like that site I found the other day. Anyway,
that was you're not supposed. You said you weren't going to talk about that.
I say a lot of things.
You do say a lot of things, and sometimes they get recorded.
They do sometimes, and sometimes after that they get posted.
Yeah. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. We have kind of a bad precedent with that.
I think this one's going to be great.
It's
really good.
If it actually gets edited together and uploaded, then I'm sure it will actually be great. But I'm not gonna hold my breath.
Great.
Let me see here. I can be found at nafansaurus.tumblr.com, obviously, and at twitter.com/Nafansaurus. I think I'm also on like Last.fm and Instagram as Nafansaurus.
Yeah, you did mention Instagram, which kind of surprised me because you never do that.
I never do anything with it, but I do have it. And if I ever remembered to put pictures I took there, then my Instagram would be totally awesome. I will put a picture of my Watchmen collection there, though, so that I can, I guess, prove that wasn't some idle claim I made.
Yeah. All right, and with that said, we will see you guys next time on ShallowCast.
Yeah. Oh, hang on.
What?
We should still give special thanks to Tumblr user Bonaventure, who made our logo.
Yes.
I
of course.
believe we have a new theme song music this time, and I don't really remember or care who made it, so, whatever.
Yeah, I heard it to some guy in some place, and he doesn't care too much.
Some douchebag that doesn't matter.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But yes, we have a sparkly new intro.
We do, and I actually really like it, honestly.
Yes, it should make things very interesting around here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm cool with it. It seems pretty solid to me.
Yes. All right, guys.
So yeah,
we'll see you later.
Thanks for listening.
That'll be it.
Thanks to me for talking. I guess I'm okay with your talking.
Yeah.
Let's call it a day.
Let's call it a day.
Oh, hey.
Thanks for hanging in there.
Oh, wait. Actually, next time on ShallowCast, we are going to be talking about the tire industry and why it's actually a conspiracy in order to put large circular objects on your cars. That is an
I don't know what else we're going to talk about on ShallowCast next time. I don't really have any notes. Boy, I'm having mental difficulties.
Yeah, you kind of ruined my joke. Anyway, that's okay. You don't have to come up with a fake thing we can talk about next time, because my expose is probably going to take up the whole episode anyway.
That probably is.
All right, we will.
I'll have nothing to talk about.
That's okay. We will see you guys next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like that when you're having an issue with cheese withdrawals, the first thing you want to go and do is get pasteurized.
I hate you.
I've been sitting on that for about 3
oh my
minutes now.
God! Oh my god. I hate you. Oh my, how did I not? Ah.
Because I was subtle about it for once.
You were. Oh my god. I'm so angry and I can't stop laughing. Ah.
Oh, man.
That actually made this idiotic cheese segment completely worth it.